Welcome to Learn English with Podcast. I'm your host, Maria. Today, we're going to talk about a very common and important situation: how to talk about yourself in English. This is one of the first things you do when you meet a new person, and it's a wonderful opportunity to make a great first impression and start a new friendship. It can feel a little bit scary, but don't worry. I'm going to give you a simple, step-by-step plan to talk about yourself with confidence. We'll start with the basics, and then we'll add more detail to tell a full story. Part 1. The basics. Let's start with the most basic information: your name, your country, and your job or school. To say your name, you can say, "My name is Maria." Or, a little more casually, "I'm Maria." To talk about where you are from, you can say, "I'm from Brazil." Or, "I come from a small town in Vietnam." To talk about your job, you can say, "I'm a teacher." Or, "I work as a software engineer." If you are a student, you can say, "I'm a student." Now, let's put it all together in one sentence. My name is Maria. I'm from Brazil, and I'm a teacher. This is a perfect start. Part 2. Adding details, the 3-sentence rule. To make your introduction more interesting, you can add a little bit more information to each basic sentence. I call this the 3-sentence rule. For your name, country, and city, you can say, "My name is Maria, and I'm from Brazil. I've lived there my whole life, in the city of Sao Paulo." For your job, you can add a detail. "I'm a teacher. I teach English to children in elementary school." For your free time, you can add a detail about a hobby. "In my free time, I love to read mystery novels and going for long walks." You see, this simple rule makes your introduction more personal and more interesting to listen to. Part 3. Your hobbies and interests. Now let's talk more about your hobbies and interests. This is a great way to find a common interest with the other person. You can use phrases like, "I'm passionate about," or "I'm a big fan of." For example, "I'm passionate about traveling. I've been to 5 different countries." Or, "I'm a big fan of soccer. My favorite team is Manchester United." This is a great way to move the conversation from what you do to who you are. Part 4. Your past. Now, let's add some of your personal history. You can talk about where you grew up, where you went to school, or what you studied. This is a great chance to use the past tense verbs you know. You can say, "I grew up in a small town called Ibiúna." Or, "I studied at the University of Sao Paulo." You can talk about your major, too. "I studied English literature." This gives the other person a look into your past and your story. Part 5. Your future. We have talked about your past and present, so now let's talk about your future. This shows that you are a person with goals and ambitions. You can use the phrases, "I'm hoping to," or "in the future, I want to." For example, "In the future, I want to travel more and visit Japan." Or, "I'm hoping to get a new job as a manager next year." This is a great way to end your personal story on a positive and forward-looking note. Part 6. Personality and character. This is a more advanced topic, but it's very important for a deeper conversation. You can describe your personality using adjectives like friendly, curious, hardworking, creative, calm. For example, "People tell me I am a very friendly person." Or, "I think I'm a very curious person. I love to learn about new things." This is a wonderful way to express who you are inside. Now, let's put it all together. Here is an example of a full, detailed introduction. "Hi, my name is Maria. I'm from Brazil, and I've lived there my whole life. I'm a teacher, and I teach English to children in elementary school. In my free time, I'm a big fan of reading mystery novels and going for long walks. I grew up in a small town, but I moved to a big city for university. I'm hoping to travel more in the future, maybe to Japan. I think I'm a very friendly and curious person, and I love to meet new people. This is a complete, powerful way to talk about yourself. You have all the words you need. Just practice telling your story out loud, and you will be ready for any conversation. We have just learned how to talk about ourselves, which is a key part of any conversation. But a conversation is a two-way street. After you talk about yourself, it's very important to show interest in the other person. The best way to do this is to ask questions. It shows you are listening and that you care about their story too. So, let's learn how to ask some of the most common and useful questions in English. First, let's go back to the basics. After you talk about your name and your job, you can simply ask, "What about you?" This is a great, polite way to invite them to share their story. Now, let's learn some specific questions. We can use the word what to ask about many things. To ask about a job, what do you do? To ask about hobbies, what do you do in your free time? To ask about their favorite things, what's your favorite food, or what kind of music do you like? These questions are easy, open-ended, and a perfect way to get to know someone. Next, we can use the word where to ask about location, to ask about their hometown, where are you from? To ask about where they live now, where do you live? Or to ask about where they went to school, where did you study? The words why and how are for a deeper conversation. These questions show that you are really listening. You can ask about their reasons. Why did you decide to move here? You can ask about their journey. How did you learn to speak English so well? Or how did you get into cooking? These questions are a wonderful way to move from simple small talk to a more meaningful conversation. Another great type of question is the simple do you question. These are yes or no questions, and they are very easy to ask and answer. To check for a shared interest, do you like to watch movies? Or do you play any sports? To ask about their family, do you have any brothers or sisters? To ask about their routine, do you get up early? Let's try a full conversation. Imagine you just finished your introduction, and now it's their turn. You, I work as a designer and I love to draw in my free time. What about you? Them, I'm a writer. I work for a newspaper. That's so interesting. What do you like most about your job? Them, I like that I get to learn about many different things. What kind of things do you draw? You, I draw nature and animals. It helps me relax. Do you have any hobbies? You see, the conversation is flowing because you are taking turns asking and answering. The key is to be curious about the other person. The world is full of interesting people with fascinating stories. The only way to hear them is to ask questions. So, the next time you meet someone new, be brave enough to ask and be ready to listen. We have learned how to talk about ourselves and how to ask questions about other people. But what is the secret to a truly engaging conversation? It is telling stories. People love to listen to a good story, and it is a wonderful way to connect with others on a deeper level. And you don't need to be a famous author to tell a good story in English. All you need is a simple structure. I like to use a simple framework to build a story. It's called the who, what, when, where framework. Who is with you? What happened? When did it happen? Where did it happen? Let's start with the when. To start a story, you can use phrases like last weekend, yesterday, a few days ago, last month. This immediately tells the listener when your story took place. Next, you can add the who and the where. For example, last weekend, my friend and I went to the park. This one sentence gives us the when, the who, and the where. It's a perfect start. Now for the what. What happened? This is the body of your story. Remember to use the past tense verbs we have practiced. You can tell a story with a simple problem and a solution. For example, we wanted to have a picnic, but we forgot the food. This is a simple problem. Now, what's the solution? So, we walked to a cafe and we bought some delicious sandwiches. The sun was shining and we felt so happy. It was a perfect day. You see, this is a simple story, but it has a clear beginning, middle, and end. It is easy to understand and it's interesting. You can tell a story just like this. The best part is that you have stories every day. What you did yesterday, what you ate for dinner last night, a funny thing your friend said. These are all stories waiting to be told. The more you practice telling them, the more natural it will become. Let's try another short story. Yesterday, I went to the supermarket. I saw a man and he was trying to buy something, but he couldn't find his wallet. He looked so sad. I gave him a little money and he was so thankful. It made my day. This is a small story, but it is a powerful way to connect with someone. The key to all of this is not to be a perfect writer. The key is to be a brave speaker. You already have all the stories you need. The next step is to tell them. We have talked about telling stories, and now let's talk about adding a very important element to your stories: emotions. When you can talk about how you feel, your English becomes more personal and more real. It helps you connect with people on a much deeper level. So, let's start with some simple, common feelings. When you are happy, you can say, "I'm so happy," or "I feel great today." You can also say, "I'm so excited," if you are looking forward to something. When you are not happy, you can say, "I'm a little sad," or "I feel a little tired," or "I feel a bit stressed." When you are angry, you can say, "I'm a little frustrated," or "I'm mad about." The key to talking about feelings is to say why. You can use the word because to explain your emotion. "I'm so happy because I passed my exam." "I'm a little tired because I didn't sleep well last night." "I'm excited because my friend is coming to visit." You see, this one word makes your sentence much more meaningful. Now, let's learn some more specific words for feelings. Instead of just happy, you can say grateful, meaning you are thankful, or thrilled, meaning you are extremely happy. Instead of sad, you can say disappointed, meaning you feel bad because something didn't happen. Instead of angry, you can say frustrated, meaning you are annoyed because you can't fix a problem. Learning these words will help you express yourself with more detail. It's also important to be able to ask about other people's feelings. You can say, "How are you feeling today?" Or, "You look happy. What's new?" If someone looks sad, you can ask, "Are you okay?" Or, "What's wrong?" These simple questions show that you care. Let's try a mini dialogue to practice. A says, "Hi, how are you feeling?" B says, "I'm a little nervous, to be honest." A says, "Oh, why?" B says, "Because I have an important job interview tomorrow." A says, "I understand. I hope it goes well." B says, "Thank you so much." You can also talk about feelings from the past. You can say, I was so happy when I got my new job. Or, I was so surprised when I saw him. This is a great way to add emotion to the stories you tell. The ability to express your feelings is what makes you human in any language. It allows you to share your full experience. So don't just tell what happened, tell how you felt. It makes a big difference. The world is waiting to hear your whole story. We have learned how to talk about our lives, our feelings, and our experiences. Now, let's take your English to the next level by learning how to talk about your thoughts and ideas. This is when you can have a deep, interesting conversation about a topic that isn't just about you. It shows that you have opinions and that you can think critically in English. The key to this is using phrases that show you are sharing a personal thought, not a fact. You can say, "I believe that," or "It seems to me that." For example, "I believe that technology is making our lives easier." Or, "It seems to me that people are more connected than ever before." When you are not completely sure, you can use phrases that show you are speculating. These are great for informal conversation. You can say, "It could be that," or "It might be that." For example, "It might be that a new type of energy will be created soon." After you share your thought, you should always be ready to give a reason. You can use "because" again, but in a more formal way. "I believe that technology is making our lives easier because we can communicate with people all over the world in seconds." This is a full, clear sentence that shows a well-formed thought. It's also very important to ask for the other person's opinion. This is a crucial skill for a good conversation. You can ask, "What do you think about?" or "Do you agree that?" Or a great question is, "Have you ever considered?" For example, "What do you think about social media?" Or, "Have you ever considered that cars might drive themselves in the future?" Now, let's talk about comparing and contrasting two ideas. This is a more advanced skill, but it's very useful. You can use phrases like, "on the one hand," but "on the other hand." For example, on the one hand, learning English is very hard, but on the other hand, it is very rewarding. This shows that you are thinking about both sides of an issue. You can also use phrases like, "It's similar to, but different because." Let's try a mini dialogue to practice this. A. "What do you think about climate change?" B. "I believe that it is a very serious problem. It seems to me that we need to act now. What's your opinion?" A. "I agree it's serious. On the one hand, I think governments should do more, but on the other hand, I think individuals also have a responsibility." B. "I couldn't agree more." You see how the conversation flows? It's not a simple question and answer, it's a real exchange of ideas. The key is to start with a phrase that shows you are sharing an opinion, give a reason, and then ask the other person for their thoughts. The ability to talk about your thoughts and ideas is a sign of true fluency. It shows that you are not just a speaker of English, but a thinker in English. And you can do this. You have all the words you need. Just keep practicing, and you will be able to talk about anything. We have come a long way. We started with simple questions about ourselves, and we have now learned how to share our deepest thoughts and opinions. The most important thing to remember is that you already have all the tools you need. English isn't just a subject, it's a way to express the person you are. The words are just the building blocks, and you are the architect. Every phrase we've practiced today is a new brick for your vocabulary house. So keep building, keep using these tools in your daily life, and watch your confidence grow. The world is waiting to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me today on Learn English with Podcast. I'm your host, Maria, and it has been a pleasure being with you on this journey. If you enjoyed this lesson and are ready to start using these skills, please give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Tell me what topic you are most excited to have a conversation about. And of course, if you want to keep improving, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next lesson. Until next time, keep practicing, keep being brave, and keep enjoying the journey. Goodbye for now.